Hello and welcome to this video for beginner cyclists. So this is going to be everything that I wish that I'd been told when I first started cycling, and I'm going to tell you from the years of experience that I have now what you need and what you don't need. So I'm going to take you through the kit that you need and don't need, the nutrition, how to fuel, the shoes, the kit you need, the bike that you should be looking for, the equipment on the bike that you need and don't need. And this is going to be basically, if you're new to cycling, this is going to be everything that you need to know. And I think that when I see people who are obviously new to cycling, they need to know what is in this video. So like and subscribe, and you can check out other videos on the channel where I'll go more in depth into each of the points. So I have a whole long video about what winter kit to wear, and I've got loads of videos on nutrition to lose weight but regain your health, and what's per kilo, and what bike I use, and why I recommend rice, white rice as your staple food. Yeah, I've got lots of information that's not biased. I'm not trying to sell you supplements or sell you stuff that I don't think is good for your health or good for your safety. All I do is put together a food plan to help people lose weight and regain their health. So hopefully you're cycling because you realise that it gives you the only real sense of freedom in this world, I think, is cycling. Cycling from your front door out into nature and the outdoors. And if you get all of this right, so the kit and the nutrition and the bike and the equipment, then it's amazing, and it's the closest thing to flying. And then pairing that again with the foods that I recommend, it's amazing. You can get fit and you can ride as far and as fast as you want. So I'll start with, so essentially, yeah, these are the main basic points that you need to know in order to, I think, enjoy riding your bike the most, to get the most enjoyment out of it, but also to be safe while you're out on the road, and to be comfortable and to have fun, and also not to be conned by marketing. Okay, so I have years of experience and have been able to test everything that people say about nutrition and what you should wear or what bike you should have, and this is a culmination of all of these years of experience. So without ado, I'll start with the kit. Okay, so I'll start with the kit. So I think that if you need cycling, then you might not have seen these before, but these are cycling shorts, and this is called a chamois. So these aren't just a pair of shorts, like shorts. These actually have what we call a chamois in them, which just gives you that nice layer of comfort and protection for your bum. So I recommend, the brands that I recommend and that I've had a good time with is Castelli. So none of this video is sponsored. This is just what I found works and is reliable and is safe. Okay, so Castelli and Sportful. So these two brands are usually what I go to for shorts, and these actually have little lycra pockets on the side, which a lot of shorts don't. These are more of a gravel specific short, but I'll get onto the bike in a moment, what bike I recommend. So yeah, look for shorts with a chamois. I always recommend it because it just makes you comfortable, and if you're comfortable, you'll enjoy riding the bike more. So I don't recommend getting, if you're new to cycling and perhaps you want to do cycling because you want to use it as a tool, not just to have fun and adventure and freedom, but to burn excess body fat. I don't recommend starting off with cycling shorts with these bib straps. I recommend getting a pair of cycling shorts that still have a chamois, but that don't have the strap. And the reason for this is because if you are overweight, you're fat, then I think these are more comfortable, because quite often, yeah, if you're carrying extra weight, these straps can cut into your shoulders and be restrictive and not feel very comfortable. Whereas when you get leaner, like I am, from cycling and the food I eat, and I'll get onto that in a moment, I would recommend bib straps because I'm so lean that the shorts are essentially just falling off me. So yeah, you don't need bib straps, you just need a pair of shorts, and they still have chamois in there, okay? And in terms of colour, don't wear black, okay? I don't know how many times I'm going to have to say it. I'll have to say it a million times more. Stop, or when you see people on social media, ignore the whole dressage of black, okay? What you want is to be seen, okay? So this is a top from Gore wear, and as you can see, woo, it's visible, isn't it? Okay, compared to that. So if you're worried about your safety on the road when you're cycling, then don't wear just black. Okay, and I've done videos on this explaining why, but essentially it's because most people, as you know, because you live in the real world, most people are on their phones all the time while they're driving, or anywhere, on the toilet, while they're talking to each other. They're even on the phones while they're talking to each other. They're on the phones in the car, at work, wherever it might be, with their loved ones. Even I see people out cycling who are like one-handed doing the phone. And yeah, it's crazy. So most people, while they're driving, they're looking at their phone, and they're occasionally looking up and down like that, scanning up and down from their phone and looking up at the road and looking back down. So in those moments where they're looking up, okay, you want your green top to catch their eye. Your green top catches their eye, and therefore they don't run you over, okay? So I've got a long sleeve top for when it's a bit cooler. So I wear this quite thick long sleeve top when it's probably below 10 degrees or so. And then I've got this short sleeve top, and again, Hi Viz, and it is cool, okay? It's trendy and cool to be seen, to wear Hi Viz, okay? This is cool, dressed as a SWAT, member of SWAT, or the army, while you're out riding the bike, is not cool, and you look stupid, okay? So don't just follow what you see on social media from people who have no idea what they're doing, because they'll get you into trouble. So those tops were from Gore and Endura, so there's some more companies to look out for. So underneath that, if it's on a cool day again, I would pair that top, this long sleeve top, with a windstopper base layer, a bit like this. So this is black, but that's because it's underneath my Hi Viz. So therefore, yeah, your base layer doesn't matter about the colour. So this is a windproof front and then breathable back, okay? So that's when it's cooler, again below 10 degrees or so, but you can, from personal experience, you'll be able to work that out the more you ride, what temperature and what tops you should wear. So then I have for warmer rides, so maybe 15, 16 degrees or so, mid-teens, I wear something like this. So this is from Craft, and also the Windstopper base layer is from Craft. And this is really light, you know, to me it looks a bit like the Mithril from Lord of the Rings. And again, I wear that up to about 16, 17 degrees underneath a short sleeve top. So you've got the long sleeve and the short sleeve, the long sleeve with the Windstopper base layer and the short sleeve with the breathable, thin base layer, just enough to keep you warm in the wind chill while you're riding. And then once, I would say above 18, 19 degrees, you can get away with just wearing a short sleeve base layer with a short sleeved jersey without anything underneath. And I always recommend, especially with short sleeve jerseys, that you get a jersey that unzips all the way to the bottom and not one that just goes a third of the way down or a quarter of the way down or whatever, 3/4 of the way down. You want it to be able to unzip all the way so that when you do get caught out, so to speak, when it's hot and you've maybe put your base layer on and you're overheating, maybe going, or feel like you're overheating going up the hills when you're going slower. So generally when you're going slower on the bike, there's less of the wind chill, so you heat up more without the wind. You can unzip it all the way and get maximum ventilation and maximum cooling, okay? You could also stop and take off your under jersey or base layer. So there's that. I say this is a guide, it's sort of a basic guide. I've got other videos on the channel going into more depth about what I talk about. So I'll put some links to that. So I have these two sets of arm warmers here. So these represent the layering system. So I've got these arm warmers here, and these are actually windproof arm warmers, okay? And then I've got these type of arm warmers which are just, yeah, they don't have any windproof material in them. So these again you can put these on, arm warmers, with a short sleeve jersey, and these are great because when you put them on you can just roll them down. So you put them on like this, pull them up, and then if it gets too hot you can just scrunch them down around your wrist, or you can take them off and put them in your pocket. And it's the same with leg warmers. So I don't usually recommend getting bib tights, only if it's very, very cold, so below freezing. So I'd always recommend wearing shorts. With leg warmers, when it's, you know, below, yeah, it's up to your own feelings of when you feel too cold, but maybe 13 degrees or so, 12, 13, 14 degrees, you would maybe wear a pair of leg warmers. And if you get too hot, you can again just stop and take them off. Whereas if you wear bib tights, which is essentially, or tights, cycling specific bib tights, so they're like, you know, these, but they're full length, so they go all the way down as though you're wearing a pair of tights, but they have a chamois in them specifically for cycling. So I always wear gloves, and always recommend people wear gloves while they're cycling, because even the greatest professional cyclists on the TV who have amazing bike handling and supposedly their bike is sort of on rails and they never seem to fall off. Even they do fall off, maybe in little stupid ways, and what do you do when you fall over? You put your hands out, okay, to save yourself. So always wear gloves. Again, it's cool. It's cool to wear gloves. You don't look stupid. I think if you don't wear gloves, then you're being stupid. And I see all variations of experience, people who supposedly have experience, who obviously have fallen off before, and they still don't wear gloves. And you know, I've done it, I fell off, and you know, I did it enough, not because I'm a bad bike handler, but just if you ride your bike, it's going to happen. And once you've cut your hand because you weren't wearing gloves, you go, that was stupid, I'll wear gloves. So I always wear gloves, okay? And again, when it's cooler, when it gets cold, down to single figures, I wear full length gloves. And then when it gets warmer, I just have these short finger mitts. So these are from Altura, but you know, there's so many gloves out there. But yeah, Altura or Castelli or Sportful, they're generally the gloves I go for. Now in terms of the helmet, I recommend, again, finding a helmet that is high vis. So to be seen, always think about you need to be seen, okay, on the road. So high vis neon green or high vis neon orange, these sorts of colours. And again, you don't need to spend a lot on a helmet. It just needs to be visible, and specifically, you know, if you just want to get going, yeah, you don't need to spend a lot of money just to say look for the high vis. You know, they all have to be supposedly, you know, all helmets have to have the same basic safety, and then the money that you're spending essentially after that is just basically for the logo, the brand logo and the reputation. So I always recommend taking what I would call safety layer. So this is just a very lightweight, compactable little coat that I always take with me if the temperature is below, so if it's dry and the temperature is below about 15 degrees or so and it's windy, I'll always take this with me in case I need to stop for whatever reason, for a puncture or whatever reason. And if it's raining, then chance of shower, again, always take that with you, and I just put it in my back pocket, in one of my back pockets, okay? So these jerseys, they come usually with about 3 pockets on the back, 1, 2, 3, and I would say probably I'd put that in the middle pocket on the back. So that's your safety layer. And again, if it's cool or chance of rain, never leave your home without it, because you need that to save your life potentially, because it might seem a nice day and you go out and you maybe haven't watched the weather forecast, or you get caught out and you can get into some serious trouble if you don't take your safety layer, okay? So always take that with you. So I always recommend using a bike computer. So this is actually a Garmin bike computer, and I've been using Garmin for years now. And I would not recommend Garmin. I think their products are terrible. But it's like an experiment, you know, you have to go down the road to find out the answer, which is no. Every model of Garmin I've had several, they've operated poorly, they've malfunctioned, they don't last very long, and No, I would recommend a different brand that I can't recommend from personal experience what other brand to recommend with that, but I would avoid Garmin. So this is a Garmin Edge 130 Plus, and the reason why you see Garmin a lot is because, again, it's just the brand reputation. So Garmin was sort of the first big GPS bike computers and watches years ago. They sort of had a market dominance, but now that there's other companies, there's other choices. Because Garmin, that could be a whole nother video. So on the bike, you want to take a saddlebag with you. I've got a more in-depth video on exactly what I take with me, but you need to take a saddlebag with you, and essentially you need to have at least, I would recommend at least 2 inner tubes. So that's right, I use inner tubes. I do not use tubeless, and I don't recommend tubeless. I think it's ridiculous. Okay, for a road bike, it is ridiculous. So you need at least, I recommend 2 inner tubes. You want a pump. You want at least 2 tyre levers, and I actually have a space blanket in there as well for when I just always leave it in there, but for the winter, literally a silver foil space blanket in there just as a last resort in case I get caught out. I can wrap myself in that, or if someone needed it, I can use that. But there's a more in-depth video on that, so you can check that out. I'll leave a link. And I'd always recommend taking a red light. Ooh, got fans. No, we don't have fans. Sorry about that. So I'd always recommend taking a rear red light. So this is from Cat Eye, a company called Cat Eye. So CATEYE, it's really Cat Eye. And yeah, always take one of them with you. So it's on the, for me, I have it on the back of my saddlebag, which goes on underneath my saddle. And then just a little basic maintenance. I recommend lube, Squirt Lube. So literally a company called Squirt Lube, and it's like a wax-based lube, water and wax emulsion, and yeah, it's great. You just clean up, when you clean out your chain, just using, I recommend, soap and water. You don't need chemicals, harsh chemicals, and never use WD-40, okay? There's nothing that soap and water can't fix, clean. So you clean it out, and then you apply this, and you leave it overnight to dry, and it's great. And you just keep applying it when you need it, and yeah, you can get, depending on how much mileage you do, you can go weeks at a time without needing to clean your chain and reapply the lube. It's great. And yeah, you'll need to reapply it. When it rains, I recommend you clean your bike after it's rained. A ride in the rain. So I recommend, you can use earphones while you're out riding, training. So you can listen to music or a podcast or some of my videos. But I don't recommend using the wireless. So the wireless earbuds, these are wired, because if it falls out your ear, okay, while you're riding, what's gonna happen to it? Okay, you're gonna lose it. So just get a pair of, these are a pair of Apple wired earphones. They're not expensive, and yeah, you won't lose them that way. I'm doing a video. Now briefly for the nutrition, so I recommend white rice as your staple, so that is literally for breakfast, lunch and tea, and I like to have it with different sauces, spicy sauces that I make, or maybe if I'm feeling a bit lazy, I buy some pre-made sauces. I've got videos on why that is. It helps you lose weight. Okay, white rice helps you lose weight. Okay, carbohydrate and sugar does not make you fat. Okay, I am 62 kilos. Measured myself just for the videos. I don't think it's healthy measuring yourself every day. In fact, I would tell you to get rid of your scales because you don't need them. If you follow the food plans that I recommend, you'll lose weight. You'll lose weight, okay? So I'm 5 feet 11, 5'11", and yeah, I was 62 kilos this morning. No calorie counting, no starvation, just eating as much of the foods as I recommend to feel full. And again, there's more videos on that. So while you're out riding, I recommend that you use white table sugar. So that's right. This is just white table sugar. So this is sucrose. So that is a 50-50 mix of fructose and glucose. I always recommend keeping it in a little bag because the bags they come in usually leak. Sugar everywhere. So you don't need to buy expensive nutrition, just some cheap white table sugar. And I always recommend at least 100 grams of sugar an hour, regardless of how long or easy your ride is. So for example, today I'm probably going to do 3-4 hours, and that means I'm going to have 300 to 400 grams of sugar, because I'm going to have probably 100 grams of sugar an hour. If it was a harder ride, I would increase incrementally every hour how much sugar I need to keep up with the demands of my training. So I usually find that about 140 to 150 grams an hour is my limit before it starts to get a bit uncomfortable and a bit sickly. So there you go. And I also have some vegan gummy sweets if I want another source of sugar. So in terms of the shoes, so there's a lot of information in this, isn't there? So I hope you're keeping up. So in terms of the shoes, generally there's these two types here. You've got the road type pedals, okay, like this, and then you've got the mountain bike pedals like this, okay. So I recommend to start off with, and for most people really, I just have these types of cleats, as you call them, just for racing, because I find that these have a very stable feel to them, whereas I don't like really racing on these, because for me I like my foot to feel fixed. But for everyone else, for most people, these type of shoes are great, these mountain bike style shoes, because you can walk around in these. They have usually rubber on the bottom, which means that you can walk around, whereas these road type shoes, it's difficult to walk around anywhere really, and quite often people don't like you wearing these if you stop at a cafe or whatever, because they can mark the ground or the carpet or whatever. So I recommend mountain bike shoes with the mountain bike cleats, okay? And these type of cleats, when you are using the actual pedal, those pedals look like that. So those go to a D's, okay? So that's what you want to look for. Now, for one last thing with kick, yeah, I recommend you wear glasses while you're out cycling. Sorry for the cut. So yes, I recommend these type of glasses, because these wider type of glasses, because they keep the wind out of your eyes, I think, better than the sort of glasses that you might buy from a petrol station or whatnot, something like that. So I think they protect your eyes quite well. So in terms of equipment to avoid, okay, what you need and what to avoid, I recommend that you avoid these types of pedals. Absolutely avoid these types of pedals, okay? Now these are the types of pedals with the, got one of my hands on there, with the straps, okay? Do not buy these with the straps, okay? I think these are horrendous and they're dangerous. These are like the old school straps that people used to use to cycle before they had cleats, okay? So you get your foot in there and you pull that and you tighten it over your shoe and you can't get your shoe out. So that's horrible. Whereas these are great because you put your foot in and you clip it into the pedal, and then to get your, it might seem scary at first being clipped in, but all you do is you just, so your foot's like in there like that and the pedal's here, you just turn your ankle out to the side away from your bike. So if your bike's here, you know, between your legs, you just turn your foot and your foot comes out the pedal easily. Whereas you have one of these, you can get your foot stuck in it, so it's terrifying. So I would recommend starting off, if you're absolutely a newbie, completely new, just a flat pedal, no straps, no clips, just a flat pedal, and then you don't even need, you can have still trainers, you can wear trainers, but you can even wear, if you've already invested in a pair of these mountain bike shoes, then you can still just wear them on the flat pedals. And you can get wide flat pedals, so this is quite a narrow flat pedal, it's got a bit of rubber to keep your foot on there, but you can get them much wider with like little metal studs just to help you keep your foot on. So I recommend for the saddle, you get a saddle with a cutout here like this, so a hole in the middle. And this just relieves the pressure on, well, perineum, and again allows you to be more comfortable. This one is a crashed, broken saddle, wasn't my fault. And in terms of the shape of saddle or preferred saddle, that is definitely something that you might have to practice, or you know, you won't find a perfect saddle for you straight away. For me, this is a Eswix Roman Evo saddle, I think it's called. This is made of carbon fibre, all carbon fibre, but you don't need a saddle all made of carbon fibre. It's got carbon fibre rails. So you can get a saddle that just has the metal rails. So that's where the saddle attaches onto your bike, where you screw it up. It's not about necessarily the padding on a saddle that makes it comfortable for you. So this is really not got much padding at all. It's more the shape. If the shape fits, you know, your geometry of your hips, you know, your sit bones, then it will be more comfortable, whereas if you have a saddle that just doesn't fit your anatomy, it's going to be uncomfortable even if you have a pillow on it. It's just not going to feel comfortable. So in terms of the gearing, so I recommend, because again I've had years of experience with it, Shimano, and specifically Shimano 105. So literally you can see the branding on there, Shimano 105, and that's because I recommend that because it's reliable, it's always reliable, and yes, it's not the lightest gearing that you can buy, but it will always work for you as long as you look after it. And there you go. It's very easy to look after and maintain Shimano 105 mechanical, not electric, okay? And you can buy really good condition second-hand 105 on eBay, really cheap, and it will last you a lifetime. So in terms of crank length, so again this is something that is up to individuals. So I'm about 5'11" or so, and I use 172.5mm long cranks, and yeah, I find that comfortable. I've always found that comfortable, and yeah, you can practice and try a 170 or a 175. You know, there's different rules. There's supposedly different rules that people have made. Like if you measure the length of your leg or your femur, and it has to be a certain ratio of the crank length to your femur and your leg. But you know, again, that one was more of a, you know, personal. You'll find out. But I would say that sort of, you know, I'll do more videos on it, but you know, for now, I think if you go by just the general recommendations, just if you're gonna buy your first bike, you know, and it's 105, then yeah. So I'm 5'11", about 5'11", 172.5. You know, if you're taller, then yeah, you can get a longer crank, and then if you're shorter, you get a shorter crank. Okay, so I'll keep it simple to that for now. Okay. So in terms of the gearing, because you're just starting off, I recommend you get the smallest gearing you can. So these are the chain rings on your gearing, on your gears. So this is a 52-36, but I would recommend getting at least the smallest. So that's what, 50-36 or 50-34. You know, the small as you can find, because again, you want to be comfortable when you're out riding. So if you're starting off and you're overweight and you get to a hill, you want the easiest gear to get you up the hill, and you don't want to stop, okay? You don't want to stop and get off, because that feels terrible. So the smallest gears on the front with the chain rings, so at least a 50-34 or 48-32, but if you look up the different combinations, you'll be able to find online the combination for you. So again, this is a cassette. So this is what you have on the back wheel. And again, I recommend buying a cassette that has a really easy gear, for the easiest gear. So this is an 11-28, but you can get, you know, you can get 30 or 32 or 34. You know, you can, if you look around, you know, you research what gear ratios you can get, and make sure, say if you're overweight and you want to get up the hills as easy as possible, you want the easiest gear. You don't need these ridiculous gears, a bit like I have on my bike. So I have a 55-42 on the front and 11-30 on the back. That's just because I'm really fit and lean, so that gets me around really efficiently. That's the reason why I have gears like that, is because they're just efficient. But for most people, you don't need it. So I recommend for the bar and stem combo, don't buy the integrated carbon bars and stems, okay? You don't need that. You know, get an aluminium bar, aluminium stem, separate, okay? And therefore, in the future, you can change out the different lengths of stem, you can change your bar if you want a different bar. So I have a 38mm wide bar because I find that comfortable and it's fairly aerodynamic. But if you want to try a 40 or a 42, you know, just find what is comfortable for you. There's not an exact, you know, copy for every single person is not the same, and that's why I think it's great having this type of bar and stem. Whereas you can get the bars and stems that are just attached, and you can't change anything. Okay, so that if you're comfortable while you're out cycling, then you'll enjoy your ride. So another reason why I recommend metal bar and aluminium bar is if you ever have a silly little fall where even if you rest your bike up against a fence or a wall and the bike catches the wind and falls over, then even if it just falls to the ground like that and you've got a carbon bar, you probably have to replace the bar because you can't say 100% for sure that that bar is not now got a fracture in it and won't snap. So you can get away usually with an aluminium bar if the bike falls over, but this has been badly crashed, so you see that it's sort of been shaved by the road. So because this is so badly crashed, it's just yeah, I can't use that, and I wouldn't recommend if you have a bad, fairly high speed crash. But again, I was knocked off, so that was not my fault. So hope you enjoyed the video and you got out some information you didn't know. I'll just show you my bike here, just a few things to go over, just say what I have on my bike and what you need. So on this, my bike here, I've got this little bar mirror, so I always recommend that you have a little bar mirror like this with you on your bike, and that way you know what's going on around you, and it's good especially if you've got your earphones in, then you know what's going on around. So definitely you need a little bike mirror. Again, I've got other videos on the channel, but this is a carbon fibre bike, but I would recommend for your first bike just stick with metal, so aluminium frame is good, and say 105 for the gearing, and then you want to get rim brakes, okay, because they're reliable, always reliable, and you can, I think they're safe to use in all conditions. Again, aluminium bar. I've got a carbon stem, you don't need one of them, but it's not integrated, so I can change that out if I want. And yeah, see I've got the road pedals here, but again you don't need them. 25mm tyres. So say for a road bike, which is what I promote on this channel, road cycling, then yeah, a road bike is 25mm tyres, and I've got carbon wheels, but you don't necessarily need carbon wheels. A pair of aluminium wheels is good, works great in all conditions. And yeah, I'd recommend shallow section, so literally shallow section wheels, because they catch the wind less and therefore it doesn't feel scary when you're out on a windy day. Whereas if you have deep section wheels, they catch the wind from the side, so you feel like you're going to fall off, which is not a very nice feeling. So you can get wider tyres if it fits your frame through the fork and through the rear here, if you want for comfort. But I always recommend 25mm tyres because I find that they're the best for performance. They feel great if you want to go fast, and they're aerodynamic. So yeah, the wider the tyre, more comfortable, but you're going to go slower and they're less aerodynamic. So it's up to you. And yeah, I've got Dura 8 mechanical. You don't need that, 105 is good. And you can have internal routed if you want. So I would recommend, if you can find it, a bike that has externally routed cables, because then you can service your bike and you can do more of it yourself. And the more you can do yourself, the less you'll be ripped off by a bike shop. Okay, so if you buy a modern bike with disc brakes and internally routed cables and all this, it's going to cost a lot at the bike shop and you're going to have no idea how to do it. So if you get externally routed cables, rim brakes, mechanical gearing, it's a lot easier to do it yourself. You know, you can look up guides on YouTube and it's all there, all the information's there. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Like and subscribe, and I think I've covered all the important points just as a basic guide for new cyclists. Okay, so remember, be seen. Sugar's good. Cycling helps you lose weight, gets you fit, allows you to go on adventures and freedom, feel a real sense of freedom. But if you pair cycling with the food plans that I recommend, you'll get lean easily and you won't have to worry about calorie counting and all of that nonsense. Okay, so improve your life quality with the bike and the right food, and your life quality will improve. Okay, I'll see you in the next one, and thank you for your time. Ciao.